me. It's awesome to be with you, Deeple.
It is wonderful. You know what? I want you to tell us, even though I said a couple of things I mentioned about your background, but I really want you to tell us your story. You know, how did you become a chiropractor? What's your story around that?
Sure. So I'm a chiropractic baby. And like you said, both my parents were chiropractors, but my story actually started before I was even born because my parents, for the first 11 years of their marriage, were not able to get pregnant. They had tried over and over and over. My mom miscarried multiple times. I mean, they were reaching a point in their marriage where they were starting to talk about other options for having kids, and they didn't think they were going to be able to have kids of their own. Well, soon after that, they ended up starting chiropractic school. And as soon as my mom started chiropractic school, started getting adjusted regularly, all of a sudden her body was able to heal properly, function properly, and she was pregnant with me. And then pregnant with my sister, and then my brother, all three of us within 3 years. So what I owe my existence to chiropractic. I wouldn't be here. And then, of course, I was checked and adjusted from birth. My mom ended up actually also becoming trained in functional medicine, homeopathy, nutrition. So we had kind of this holistic healthcare family where we were all about just taking care of this.
I love it.
Things. Yeah. And as I grew up, I really realized just how much of a blessing and a gift that was, but also how rare it was. That to really live a life of this full expression of our potential for health is to be in this tiny minority. And in my mind, that's unacceptable. This is something that everybody should know. And that's ultimately what sort of pulled me into the profession myself. And that's why I do this. That's why I take care of patients. That's why I come on podcasts like yours and travel and speak, is because I want everyone to have an opportunity to live this same blessing that I've been blessed enough to live.
You know what? Because of chiropractic care, I started doing energy healing. And I'll tell you, so for me, I used to work in pharmaceuticals. I was a pharmaceutical rep for 10, 12 years. And so I was promoting medicine all the time. You have a headache, I got the cream. You got hemorrhoids, I got the cream. I got everything you need. And so when I quit my job years ago, gosh, my youngest one was about 3.5, and now she's 12. So it was quite some time ago. And I started to learn that my body needed more natural care. I wanted to do more natural things versus popping pills. And that was the first time I actually felt that way, because I was a huge promoter of pills and doing that for so long, thinking that that was the only way to heal the body. Right. And I think a lot of us feel that way until we start understanding what natural healing is. And I'm not saying there isn't a place for medication. There definitely is, right? But for me, when I went into the very first time I had a chiropractic care, I was having manipulations and things, and I didn't like the way that felt. Like it was just a lot of cracking and it didn't feel right, you know? Then I went to another kind of chiropractor, and he was doing entrainments. So he would literally open up channels along the spine energetically, no manipulations, and the body would just start to move and flow. And it was amazing to me that you can do that, right? Energetically. Then I went to another chiropractor because I still wasn't happy. And I'm just shopping around for chiropractors apparently. And I go to another chiropractor, and he's doing subluxation. You know, he's fixing the C1, C2, saying most of the things that we have in our body, the diseases, come from that specific area. So I tried this for about 6 years. And that's when I got into my own energy healing and found my own abilities that, wow, so we can shift our bodies, whether it's energetically, whether it's manipulation or whatever, but but I thought there was only one kind of chiropractor, those that crack, snap, crackle, and pop, right? But you do something different. You do KST, emotional relief, you do kinesiology work, as well as quantum neurology. Can you kind of go into that, because they all sound fascinating?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot there to unpack, but really, yes, there's a lot of specialty within chiropractic, but there's this common philosophy within chiropractic that your body is intelligent. We acknowledge that first and foremost, that your body is extremely intelligent. It has innate inborn intelligence. It knows how to heal. That capability is there. And all of that healing and all that function is coordinated and controlled by your nervous system. So nothing in your body functions or heals without communication between your brain and body. And so our job is to look at how the structure of the body can affect that communication and to make specific corrections. We call it an adjustment, specific corrections to the structure to facilitate that communication between brain and body so that healing intelligence can be expressed and the body can function and heal at its optimum. And as you can imagine, and like you said, there are a lot of ways to do that. Some people don't like the manual adjustments. I personally, I love getting adjusted that way. But some people prefer low force, more on the energy side of things. Some people prefer instruments. And so that's the great thing about chiropractic is there's something for everybody. In my personal practice, I really like to focus on the nervous system. I lots of focus on the nervous system just because of what I mentioned. That's what controls healing. And so the KST and the AK, the core and specific technique and the applied kinesiology, these are types of chiropractic care that actually will test the body, sort of give a stimulus to the body, test to see what it needs in that moment and get feedback from the body. So we know before we even do an adjustment, before we even make any kind of correction, we know what the effect is going to be through manual muscle testing, through different forms of biofeedback. So it's a great way of sort of asking the body, what is it that you need and want right now? What's the priority that we need to address today? And that's what I love is because it really honors that person's inborn healing intelligence. And so it's all about really asking the body, what do you need? And then giving it exactly that and knowing what that effect is going to be before we even do it.
Yeah, I agree. Even in energy healing, we will use, as a medical intuitive, I will talk to the body and teach patients how to work with the body and get their own intuition going, right? We have to, I think, practice discernment too, and what our body requires and what our bodies are saying, because all of our symptoms and all of our body parts talk. And so I think it's really important. Now, let's not deny that there is an elephant in the room, and there's new information that comes out about the pandemic at this time. Every single day, there's something new. Today I was listening to ABC News, and they were saying, well, now the virus is not conducted through surfaces, by touching surfaces. Well, I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense because it's a virus, right? And the flu is also a virus, and flu can be transmitted through touching a surface that somebody already had the flu is touching, right? So how is this one different? So there's a lot of new information coming out. What are your thoughts on how the government is actually handling this crisis?
Well, the more time passes and the more information that we have, the more we realize that this is not nearly as serious and as dangerous as we initially thought it was. I think initially when there were a lot of questions, people were happy with taking precautions that they thought might be necessary. But like you said, a lot of these precautions and restrictions that were put in place are proving to be unnecessary and excessive. And in a lot of cases, causing a lot of harm. So, I hate to use this word of essential, but I've been deemed an essential worker. This hasn't really affected my livelihood the way it's affected other people. But I know a lot of small business owners who initially they were like, yeah, we'll close our doors for a couple of weeks. This is, we're happy to do that. And now they're looking at this and they're saying, we're not okay with this.
Yeah.
This is affecting our livelihoods. We're seeing rates of alcoholism, suicide, all of these different types of diseases that come with economic collapse that are on the rise. And in my opinion, that the danger of that far outweighs anything we're seeing with coronavirus. Now, are there certain people who are especially susceptible to this? Yeah. And they may want to choose to isolate and people who are going to be exposing themselves to those people may want to choose to isolate. But an important question isn't being asked right now, and that is, how do you build health? I think that's the thing I've been most upset about with how the government's handling this, is the only conversation that's being had is how do we stay clean? How do we stay distant? There's no conversation about how do you build a healthy, resilient immune system so that when you're exposed to this virus, which there's a pretty good likelihood that you will be, or any other virus, your body's ready for it. There's no conversation happening about proper nutrition, right? Proper exercise, chiropractic adjustments, sunlight, fresh air, human connection, all those things that are so important to immunity and overall health. That's missing from the conversation. I think it needs to be discussed. If the government's going to be talking about what's the worst case scenario of this virus, they also need to be looking at what's the worst case scenario of putting these restrictions in place and not giving anyone information on how do you build health and resilience. So I would say my overall opinion on this, I haven't been happy with how it's been handled.
Yeah, it has been, I think everything's, all the talk has been conducted around there's a virus, there's a virus, there's a virus. Yeah, we all know that. What can we do besides put a mask on and social distancing? And I completely agree. So I know there are, decisions that we have to make for ourselves, and do take those into consideration. But I also agree, Dr. Pride, that nutrition, that's really, really important. Is there something you could give us about nutrition, just a little bit, just to help guide people so that they know where to start?
Sure. I mean, for starters, cut out things that are going to compromise your immune system. Sugar is a big one. Sugar compromises immune system function for hours every time you eat it. So, I know with quarantine and sitting at home, it's so tempting to just get Netflix and get a bunch of junk food, and that's the worst thing you could possibly do. So cutting things like sugar, I tell people to cut the 3 white poisons: wheat, sugar, dairy. If you cut those 3 things, that will do wonders for your overall health. But then just introducing things like vegetables, healthy fats, lean meat, drinking lots of water, not soda, not alcohol, but good spring water is really good for you. So that's the best place to start.
Yeah. I think it's interesting how nutrition, and it's funny I brought nutrition up because now that we're talking about it and asking your opinion as to what you would recommend, I get it's a big piece, because not only is it going to help our immune system, but right now, that's where people are slipping. You know what I mean? Yeah. Before, when we were, when people were outside of the house, they didn't think about food that much. But now when you're inside the house, it's around you, you might be like, okay, what can I do now? And the thing that you can think of is, oh, let's just eat. And that's easy to do, because when this first started, of course, I'm used to working in the home, but it's interesting because I was slipping as well. And I would notice myself purchasing like chips. I don't ever keep junk food in the house. And now I'm purchasing chips. And I'm like, what is going on? So if we can recognize our own habits and where we're slipping, I think that would also help a lot to get back to what we need to do, and some of the things that you mentioned. So thank you for sharing that. So what is your approach to health and wellness just overall? Because what makes it so effective?
Well, when it comes to our health, first of all, you have to acknowledge your body's intelligent. That's the first thing. And if you understand that your body's intelligent, you have to do 2 things. 1, clear whatever's interfering with its ability to do its job. And 2, give it the raw materials it needs to function and heal at its optimum. So my approach is one where we honor that wisdom is there. We get rid of the things that are compromising its expression, and we give it the raw materials, the right food, the right nutrition, the right water, whatever it needs to be able to use as building blocks to be able to heal and function. So that's my overall approach. Now, is there a time and a place for a drug like you mentioned? Of course there is. When there's a crisis, medicine will save your life. And I'm sure, having been a pharmaceutical rep, you know that better than most, right? But this approach of do nothing, wait till you get really bad and then take a drug and then don't change your lifestyle, that's going to lead to disease and early death, period. In chiropractic, we are all about saying, okay, what's the cause of the problem? What does the body need to do its job? What is it missing? What's interfering with its ability to do its job? And address that. And that's why it's so effective. The reason what we do is so effective is because of how intelligent the body is. I mean, I would say, we're good at what we do here, but it ultimately, all the power is in the person who's being cared for.
Right? I agree,
so
100%.
That's what makes it effective. Yeah, that's what makes it so effective. It's the intelligence that's there. It's less about what the doctor's doing and more about what the patient already has.
Yes. And you mentioned this intelligence system. And I think we all need to remind ourselves that this is our intelligence system, and all this stuff outside that is within the intelligence system that's protecting this intelligence system is this cocoon, this body, this home. And we need to take care of it because there's a lot of things, our environmental factors, our emotional factors, and our beliefs and everything around us and within us that wants to attack this intelligence system and get us out of our original blueprint, I guess I could say, right? But we have to take control. We have to take control of our mind. We have to take control of our body and tell yourself that I am in control, because what we want is to feel empowered. And when we don't feel empowered, right, over our bodies, that's when diseases set in. Would you agree with that? Uh-oh.
I mean, you couldn't have said it better, Deeple. And I think, you're clear. All right, we're good.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost my train of thought when our internet cut out. You said the word empower. I love that word empower, because some people, when you tell them, hey, you have because the first thing I tell people is you are at choice with your health. Look, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to come alongside you, but ultimately you're in the driver's seat when it comes to health. You are always at choice every single day in which direction, either disease or health. You're always at choice in the decisions you make with your lifestyle. You're always at choice in which direction you go. And some people look at that and they feel threatened by that, because up until now, they've been able to say, I'm a victim. This disease is something that happened to me. I'm not responsible. I get special treatment. When you're always at choice. And when you have choice, it puts you at a level of responsibility. And some people don't like that. But I find that, like you said, to be incredibly empowering, because any day I can change how I live and move the opposite direction and change my life. And some people might say, I have a pre-existing condition. I have this health problem, and I've had it for a long time. You're sick. Yes, your circumstances may be different, and you're still at choice. You can still look at your living on a day-to-day basis and begin to improve your life incrementally. And let me tell you, there is always a better way to be living. I mean, there's always there's always a better health and a more vibrant life. And I think people really need to know that and be empowered by that.
Yep, I agree. Thank you. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Oh gosh, all kinds of ways. So social media, everyone's on social media right now because they're all on their phones because they're all locked in right now. But Dr. Casey Pride on all platforms, DrCaseyPride. If you're interested in booking me for speaking, you can go to drcaseypride.com. My email is drcaseypride@gmail.com. Really easy to remember. Those are the best ways to get in touch with me right now.
Awesome. It's been an amazing time that we've had together. Thank you so much for being here and being here for humanity, because what you do is important and we love it. So thank you. And sharing your work. I think it's beautiful. So if you guys would like to get in touch with me, my name is Deeple, and you can reach me at deepleShah@anandaforlife.com, and it's the number 4. You can also go to Ananda, ANANDA, the number 4, life.com, and you'll find a lot of goodies there. So grab your stress-free relief guide. Stress-free relief, guys. I think just even being at home, I think people are stressed. So grab your awesome stress-free relief guide. It has some beautiful ancient yogic techniques in there, which you will not find anywhere else. So grab that, and don't forget to sign up for the global gathering, June. Like I said, we're having a meeting in June. 8 amazing healers are going to be on. We have different healers on every month, and would love for you to join us. So just go to anandaforlife.com and you'll find all that information there, okay? So thank you so much, guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and see you all next time.